How's it going, guys? Oathkeeper here once again, and this time we are going to go over the very, very cool August tier shifts that just happened yesterday. So, we got the usual crew, minus a couple. SpacialRendevous, he's on vacation because that's clearly more important than this. And xerovis was going to be here this time around like usual, but he had a family emergency, so I won't go into too much detail, but we just hope it all works out for him. But that doesn't mean we're going to be without some very talented people here this time. So, with me is recently promoted voice, Mariannabelle. Say hello.
Hello.
And we got GW, Green Ninja Warrior.
What's up, my Ninja Warriors? Your boy. In this.
And returning for another week is Aawin.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Aawin Warrior 21, aka Galarian Stunfisk Advocate.
I was gonna say, and speaking of advocate, yeah, Mariannabelle, you are definitely the biggest advocate for Ninjask. Am I right?
Big time, yes.
Yes. So, let's see. Yeah, like I said, Mariannabelle just got promoted to voice about, what, 2-ish weeks ago? Something like that? I don't know.
Something like that.
Or something like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely grats to him. So, good job there. Well deserved. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Let's start by talking about what happened this past month in July with the stuff that we got. So in my opinion, the meta just kind of seemed. I don't think lackluster is the word I would use, but I mean it definitely had its bright spots, but I kind of feel like it was just meh. You know what I mean? Decidueye had it got promoted to I want to say it was S. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it's.
I don't think it's.
No, go ahead.
I think it might be S right now.
Yeah, with Toxicroak, who continues to shine in this meta. But yeah, Decidueye definitely getting more attention and well deserved in my opinion. Another notable mon being Miltank, given its it's already got 3 great abilities, but it's utilizing Sap Sipper the best right now because of Geist and Decidueye. But that's enough out of me as far as the meta in the past month goes. Mari, what are your thoughts this past month?
My main thought is that I hate Miltank. Like, in general, Miltank was a big challenge for me to deal with because it was a brand new rocker, but it also couldn't be worn down with weak attacks because you had to get around its milk drink somehow, as well as Heal Bell. So in general, it was a great glue for a lot of teams, I think, because, in the sense that it provided a new typing for a rocker, because a lot of ours were like bulky grounds before, and now we have to deal with a bulky normal type rocker that also had a nice base speed. Yeah, I feel like the word you were looking for is like a very mundane meta. Like, I'm looking at the viability right now, and actually, Decidueye got placed into A+.
Oh, okay.
While Toxicroak and Kofa are still S tier. But, yeah, Decidueye dominated. It's number 1 in usage right now, I'm pretty sure. Or was number 1 in usage for the month of July. At like 25%,
Sheesh.
I think. Which almost rivals Incineroar from last gen, but that was like more like I think like 35%, I want to say, not 25. But yeah, I also hate Miltank. I wanted it to, rise up somehow in this last shift, but, can't always get
what you want. I saw a lot of stall for some reason in this last meta. And see, I don't prep for stall ever because I find it a very bad playstyle.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if Greninja Loser over here has any more insightful commentary.
I mean, I don't think Stall is actually that bad right now. Like, I've seen a lot of Quagsire plus, like, Miltank, bulky offense balance teams with, like, something like Aromatherapy, Eldegoss, for example, so that way it frees up the slot on the Miltank. Also, I mean, I think Miltank is annoying, but I don't think there's any reason for it to necessarily get banned. Because I think there's a lot of Pokemon that would be, like, over the top or just, like, jump up a tier or two without Miltank to help keep them in check, and having Bufalon is also nice as well. Another Pokemon we'll probably get to later. But yeah, because otherwise I feel like something like Specs Decidueye would literally just 2 kill every single Pokemon that could possibly come in. But having Miltank at the high usage it is helps to make things a bit less broken, you know? Otherwise we'd have to ban even more Pokemon. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a, I mean, I guess it's a bit boring meta, but I think it's a fairly balanced one compared to what we've had in the past.
Yeah, Aawin, I think you, I think that was the word I was looking for, mundane. Like, it just kind of felt uneventful. Like, there was nothing really spectacular going on. It's like, oh yeah, Miltank is here, so, bring a fighting type, to your team to usually deal with it. But other than that, like, nothing really spectacular, managed to surface and completely wow us. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the next topic. So, getting on to the tier shift that just happened yesterday. Luckily, we only lost one Mon. However, it was a Mon that was, kind of valuable to the meta, in my opinion. Silvally Steel saw usage in RU because the RU meta was lacking steel types to begin with, since Kabaraja and Steelix left it for UU. So yeah, we lost a very good defensive pivot / defogger / fairy beater, but it definitely took its toll, in my opinion. Mari, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, Silvally Steel it had a very unique niche, as in, it was pretty much the offensive steel type pivot. Like, we also have, like, Kling Clang, but that guy relies on Volt Switch, and stuff like Kling Clang tends to draw in bulky ground types anyway. So it's not really that good of an offensive pivot, Kling Clang. And Silvally Steel also had a lot of roll compression, as in, like, it was also something that could, like, switch into most of Abomasnow's attacks pretty easily, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think offensive teams in general are going to have to come up with some sort of, well, they're going to come up with plan B as far as covering all of the different things that Silvally Steel could do.
Yeah.
Because it was also like, ooh, you can one-shot Alchemy, Clefairy, and stuff like that. And as an offensive steel, it also was fairly useful for wearing down the enemy or the opposition because of its useful coverage options like Surf for bulky grounds or Flamethrower for Ferroseeds and Stunfisks and like T-Bolt for bulky waters or whatever you needed it to do. It could do it.
Yeah.
And it's probably coming back in a month, but for now, we'll have to do without it.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. Yeah, Aawin, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't have much to add to what Mari said, but the fact that Sylv Steel is, a great pivot, with Party Shot or U-Turn, depending on what you want it to do. either like get chip or just lower offenses. But I find it kind of neat that Soul Steel was one of the only steel types in the game to have defog, which made it a great hazard remover for teams not being affected by T-spikes and only taking 6% from rocks. It was really nice. And then I know in the past couple weeks I've been using it as a really nice defensive backbone with Lantern and then a ground resist. But like Mario said, with the steel type pivots, Togedemaru also, which I think it's fell off recently, but I know that Togedemaru also invites fat grounds like Sandaconda because, electric steel 4 times with the ground, But GW probably has something that I'm missing because, I forget a lot, but, pretty sure he might have something to add on there.
I mean, I think most of your points were pretty good. The fact that it's the only real Savali that it can easily switch into ice types such as Abomasnow without having to take 25% from rocks. Because there's no real reason to run default Savali Fire because you're taking 25% for rocks just to temporarily keep them off, whereas Savali Steel can easily come in multiple times, easily defog, pivot into fairy types, pivot into like Savali Dragon, for example. Being able to just a really good defensive Pokemon, and all we really have left skill-wise is Stunfisk Galar, so all it does is really limit our options and give us less hazard removal, which is kind of annoying because it gives us less options to try and stop teams with like Spike Stack, T-Spikes, etc. So it's a little annoying, but I think the meta should survive for now, and it's definitely coming back in the following month as well with Steelix and Kaparaja and RU, which gives less reasons to use it there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you guys were saying. It's just one of those nice, defoggers, pivoters that, like you said, take, hardly any chip from Stealth Rock as it is. So yeah, I definitely expect it to be back next month, given that, RU has, more steel types back, and yeah, so we'll see, what happens in September, and hopefully we do get it back. All right, so yeah, like I said, that was the only thing that left the meta, thankfully. Now let's get to the fun part, the stuff that we got from RU. I think let's just start right off the top alphabetically. Excelgor. So you got a fast, like really fast, special attacking bug type. It can be used as a literal suicide lead with Final Gambit. It can be used as a lead spiker, or you can use it as a actual a nice special attacker with Throat Spray and Bug Buzz. Those are just my ideas, at least from what I've seen. Mari, is there any other sets that you know of, or how it can be used, viably, or anything like that?
I hadn't thought about Throat Spray until it was mentioned to me today, and I think that's probably the best way to go. However, I think there's also something to be said about its hazard setting capabilities for offensive teams. Because the thing about Excelgor is that it has the speed and coverage to force things out, so it can use that leverage to set. I'm pretty sure it gets toxic spikes, stuff like that. It doesn't really have the bulk that I wish it had, but I think it has plenty of opportunities to come in and do cool stuff.
Yeah, Excelgor is really nice because this thing has a speed tier that we haven't really had in a while. We got Bolton a couple months back, I think, and that was pretty, shit, to put it lightly. I also didn't think of Throat Spray as an option for this thing, but being able to, get that, essentially a choice specs boost, but being able to switch up your attacks was really nice. And it does have neat coverage, and Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, even Water Shuriken if you're saucy. But it also has neat utility as well, and busted item, heavy duty boots plus knock. You get both T spikes and spikes. And you also get recover as well. And I think this thing could also see use in the moves like Final Gambit because it's fast and it can max HP is 364, which is decent to get some chip on something. And it could also use Yawn as well as U-turn to pivot. So that's really all I have for this thing. I think 100 special attack is pretty epic too. So yeah.
GW, up to you.
Yeah, I think its Soulboard is gonna be really good. It hits like 400. It hits like 427 speed at a level 100, which is like faster than pretty much anything except for Mary's favorite Pokemon. Other than that, but even then, it can spike on the switch in for that thing. And it has what it doesn't have over Jask, something like Jask, is incredible coverage. It has like access to Focus Blast. It's pretty much forced out a lot of Pokemon due to how offensive it is. It can spike up and beat the majority of hazard setters. You can even run Throat Spray with Mud Bomb or run like a Choice Spec set and just spam Bug Buzz and pretty much destroy everything if they don't have a stun for Scowler. For the most part, you don't have any incredible balls. Or I guess maybe something like Kofag could switch in, but then you can still spike on that. I think it's just going to be really good. It has T-Spikes, Spikes, Knockoff, Final Gambit for potential lead options. I think it will be a really nice addition to the new metagame.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's, like I said, like, it's got Mega Sceptile speed, base 145, so, yeah, this thing is fast, but, yeah, you already said it, not as fast as, the Ninjask that Mari loves. Yeah, so, and Ninjask would easily beat this thing with one little well-placed acrobatics, so. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's gonna fit in nicely, in my opinion. It's not overpowering at all. It's just fast and annoying. That's all it is. So moving on, the mon that at least I like to call the Afro Bowl Bouffalant. And I mean, this thing is. I mean, I've already started building a team around it. At least I think it was Sub SD with Body Slam and Toxic. Toxic for stuff like Decidueye and Gourgeist. And then I can easily see it running. I mean, as we all know, all these physical attacking normal types, they lost Return and Frustration, which is unfortunate for them, but I could easily see like a banded set being run on this with a Reckless, but this is basically like a more offensive Miltank in my opinion, but no rocks. Mari, what do you think?
I think that, well, Buffalo is something that I've been looking at a little bit because I think he could actually make a great for Ninjas. Buffalo offers a lot of really nice coverage in the sense that it has strong normal stab as well as strong fighting coverage as well as strong ground coverage, and it even has stuff like Throat Chop if you want to hit the likes of Kofag a little bit harder, along with Swords Dance to boost up. So I think we're looking at a pretty impressive wall breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. I like that. Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, it's definitely a great wall breaker. Aawin, go ahead.
Yeah, so Bouffalant is very similar to the fact that Miltank, or similar to Miltank in the fact that it gets Sap Zipper. But the thing is, with 110 base attack, it's not going to be passive after getting that boost. And it also has Reckless to boost Head Charge, which is pretty heater. And then, a bunch of great wall breaking options. And I really think this thing will make a splash because it also, with Sap Zipper, can switch into Gourgeist and Decidueye. I don't have much else. It's just a god tier mon. Would support for S rank.
Wow.
Yeah. S rank Buffalo, make it happen, then you.
Bold statement right there. Wow.
It's S rank?
It's S rank. 100%.
Really?
100%.
I don't think it is.
100%.
Nope. I denied it. As future NU cheerleader, obviously. Denied.
But yeah, G-Dubs, go ahead.
Alright. I mean, the interesting thing about Bouffalon, it has the same typing and ability. It has like the same typing and ability options as Miltank. Instead of being passive and only being able to like seismic toss Pokemon, such having only seismic toss as its way to hit like poison types and like steel types and like things that are immune toxic. It has the ability to just earthquake them and decimate their chances of surviving, and it has Throat Chop for Pokemon like the Decidueye and Gourgeist. Try and blow them away before you get worn down too much by Toxic, in case they have that for you. And I mean, it has Swords Dance as well. It has pretty good bulk, and it has good coverage. I think it'll be a solid Pokemon. I don't think it'll actually be S rank. It'll probably be like somewhere in the A to high B range, maybe. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really solid. I'm definitely gonna build some teams around it soon.
Yeah, and yeah, the Bouffalon that I've already started, working with, I've made it so it can live through one of Stunfisk G's earthquakes behind a sub. So I'll have to remind me to send you guys that spread so you can work with it. Anyway, Bouffalon will definitely make a name for itself here, no question. Let's see. Next is the. I'm trying to find the right description for this thing. The always a scarfer ditto. This thing just can't seem to stop falling through the tiers, because I mean it was used in OU for a little while, then UU, then RU. Hardly ever saw it in RU. Now it's here in NU. Is there really much else to say about this thing? I mean, just let me know. I mean, it's pretty much like a universal scarfer.
It's literally just ditto.
Okay, yeah, it's just it. Okay, then we'll move on. Okay, this one, this bug, this grass type that clearly looks like a bug, Lurantis. I also feel this thing will make a nice impact on the meta. It's got contrary. That automatically is just a nice little bonus. And it's got Leaf Storm, it's got Superpower, it's got Defog, it's pretty much got all the stuff that you kind of ask for in a mon like that. I saw this getting a lot of usage in Sun and Moon PU a lot, as a physically defensive defogger. But Mari, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Lurantis was one of those things that I was looking forward to because it's another offensive defogger, which is what I'm always looking for on my Ninjas teams. But, so the thing about Lurantis as an offensive defogger is that at the same time it couples as grass offense, which is really nice for opposing the likes of bulky grounds that like to use stealth rock and stuff. It also has a favorable matchup against Miltank because you can just superpower at Miltank. And the thing about Contrary is that poison types aren't exactly super happy to be switching in, especially stuff like Wheezing, because it'll take a nice chunk from a Leaf Storm, and then it might find out, hey, wait a sec, I died to the next Leaf Storm because it's boosted up now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be really nice for wearing down Rocky Helmet poisons and the like. Yeah, and that's all I have to say about that one. I think he'll do pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. Good. Aawin?
Yeah, so I'm not like a huge advocate for Lurantis. I think it'll be decent, but the really big caveat that I'm seeing with Lurantis is the fact that its contrary stabs have such low PP that, they're not necessarily... I wouldn't say they're not spammable, because they are once you start snowballing boosts, but, you only have so many opportunities, I guess, to click it. And then with 45 base speed, you're going to have to to even outspeed some of the rockers that we have. To, beat the rockers and, defog on them, you have to run at least a little bit of speed, which takes away from the bulk. Because his bulk isn't bad. 70, 90, 90 isn't horrible. And having, support options like aromatherapy and recovery and synthesis, which also has, limited PP. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a solid, mid-tier mon. I don't think it'll be anything really exceptional. At least not right now. But I think it could be decent in, the right meta. So, I don't know. I find this like a superior light, I guess. But,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I see it, in a way. JW, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like Laurentius is kind of a Pokemon that wants to have 6 moves at once. Because if you're running Superpower and Leaf Storm and not Knockoff, then you're just basically bait for Gourgeist and Decidueye and stuff like that. And if you're not running Defog, then you have a Grass type that can switch into Rockers, but then you're not really taking advantage of it. So I feel like it's kind of really difficult to find the right set. Even if you do, I think it's not that difficult to deal with. It'll probably be a decent niche defogger. I don't think it's going to be anything high tier, like Aawin said. It'll probably be an okay Pokemon at best, I think. Maybe catching people off guard if they forget it gets contrary and they accidentally defog and then you dodge all their moves. Then you just win, easy peasy. Something silly like that. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I don't expect it to make a huge impact, but it'll make an impact of sorts. Whether it be, like Mari said, coupling an offensive Grass with a defensive defogger or what have you. I mean, I still think it'll be useful here. It's one of those mons that it's not gonna, fall to the bottom of the barrel in usage, if that makes sense. Okay, and next one is a DPP, Origin mon in Luxray. This guy got a pretty nice gift in agility, considering its speed was, to begin with. I mean, it's only, I think it's base 70 or something like that. And sure, it's got guts, but what's the point in having it if you're not fast enough to use it? So, I mean, its attack stat is definitely, something to write home about, but again, why, if you're not fast enough, how can you use it? Mari, what are your thoughts on Luxray?
My thoughts on Luxray is that it's a PU mon.
Wow. B solid B minus, B plus, which one?
Oh no, I guess I didn't say it clearly enough. PU, I think it's a solid
PU.
PU
I'm sorry,
mon.
I thought you said B. I'm like, wow. Okay, a PU mon.
No way, PU mon.
Okay, a PU mon. That's fair enough. Okay. And
it just doesn't offer much.
So yeah, I mean, it's agility helped it out a little bit, but I guess not overwhelmingly. A lot. And I guess that was all your thoughts on it.
I guess I'd add that just as far as electric types go, we just have better options. And even if you get Guts up, it's still going to have a hard time between its speed and the lack that a lot of its coverage options, like Fire Fang and whatnot, are just low base power moves. And I think it would just benefit so much more from anything else besides Guts.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. And Aawin, I think I might already know your thoughts, but go ahead and put them out there anyway.
D rank, blacklisted on the viability rankings. Next, send it to ZU. I don't want it. Go home.
All right.
Those are my thoughts. You're welcome.
Fair enough, GW.
Bring him to PU.
Well, there you have it, guys. Luxray is just not a favorite among any of us right now, so we're just gonna move on. The next one,
Could have like,
yeah, go.
could have like bolt on speed tier maybe. But
All right, next one, definitely more likable, I will say. It was a mon that just went straight from PUBL to RU during one shift. Magneton. It's actually got a couple of nice abilities, magnet pole to trap steals, but no way to harm the steel types. But that's when its other nice ability in analytic comes in. You can run Eviolite, you can run Specs, you can run Scarf. Mario, what do you think?
I have been thinking about using Magneton just a little bit because right now we need good steel type pivots, and while Magneton doesn't really have any good way to deal with the likes of like Stunfisk G, I think there's something to be said about like Eviolite pivots, where it would have a set like, Volt Switch, Flash Cannon, Toxic, and then some other move. Because, Toxic to hit stuff like Quag. And it's like, it can switch into stuff that you want your steel types to be switching into. Like, as long as you don't eat an Earth Power, you can come in on Abomasnow and threaten it with Flash Cannon. And stuff like that, and as far as like the last mon goes, there's stuff like, or the last move goes, you can use stuff like Magnet Rise to get around Earthquake coverage, maybe Steel Beam, because Steel Beam does something like 50% to especially defensive mill tanks, so if you like wear it down a little bit, you can smack it with a quick Steel Beam. I think he's got options. Magneton is not terrible. Aawin, what do you think?
Yeah, so Magneton was here for a little bit actually, like during Scyther meta, like in June, I want to say, like post DLC. So I still didn't play around with it. Probably not going to, but you know what? That's fine. I really think that Specs Analytic is going to hit hard. You can run like Volt Switch, T-Bolt, Flash Cannon, and then like Steel Beam or Toxic or something. Because Lantern hard walls this thing into, 8 decades from now, unless you don't run Toxic. Or if you don't run Toxic, you're being wrong. I just had a mental, block. But I think this thing, its speed tier is okay. I guess it would be an okay Scarfer, I guess, but I really think Eviolite sets are going to be the most Pog moment sets. Like Pog potential. That's what I'm going to call it.
Alright, so yeah. Magneton, I think, is going to be pretty nice. I think Magnet Pole is pretty irrelevant unless people are using like something random like Berserker, but other than that, like, only real other steel type we have is Stunfisk Gowler, and you're not really doing much to it other than running Magnet Rise and hoping it doesn't have Yawn or something like that. I think the best sets are probably going to be like Specs Analytic and a Violite. A Violite could help it to like maybe pivot into an attack or two. A slightly more solid flying resist or dragon resist. And if you're running Specs Analytic, you come in on something like Ninjask or whatever, and then they try to bring in their bulky ground type, they try to bring in their fire type, and they just take like, they almost get instantly O-code to the power of like Choice Specs plus Analytic. Be a really difficult mon to switch into on the right team. I think it's definitely a high tier mon for sure.
Yeah, it's if you put Magneton in the right position, it's going to be dangerous to handle, to switch into. And I think I might add, this having Steel Beam, it kind of acts like a, in the right situation, it can kind of act as like a suicide kind of move. since it takes 50% regardless of whether you hit or not. So it can, I mean, consider that, if you will. Just it can be used as like a soft, U-turn or volt switch, as it is. But anyway, the next one is the last mod that we got. It's not really, raising any eyebrows here, but we got Polytoad. We finally have a actual decent user of Water Absorb. I mean, obviously Drizzle can't be used, so it's banned here. But yeah, Water Absorb can definitely, help against possible flip turners like Basculin. I'm not entirely sure what you can run on something like this. I mean, I guess you can run like a spec set. I don't know, because I haven't used it yet, but I do plan to, try something out with it. Mari, have you used, anything good or useful on Polytoad?
I haven't gotten around to using it yet, but I think, as a Ninja user, I'm always looking for offensive waters. And the thing about Polytoad is that it has, a couple of things over the likes of Specs Basculin. For example, Polytoad has access to, Focus Blast, so that's nice for hitting Pharisee. And it has better bulk, as well as Water Absorb. So I think that it's got some nice rolls that it can compress. That being said, it also suffers from the same thing that all of our Specs waters have, and that's Hydro Pump having suck accuracy, which I hate. And that also, that's pretty much the main reason I don't want to use it, is it's, offensively speaking, it has to rely on Hydro Pump, or it's just going to be a lot weaker than the competition. But I still think there's something to be said about having Water Absorb, Water Offense. Although it also doesn't really... I'm pretty sure... correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it has Earth Power.
It does. Yes, it does.
So that's a nice option as far as beating Toxicroak goes.
It's also got Psychic.
Oh, a Psychic too? Yeah, that's nice. Either way, it has an option to deal with Toxicroak. So I think as an offensive water, it can do plenty of work.
Yep, agreed. Aawin?
Yeah, so I'm actually a huge advocate for Mr. Derp Toad over here. I do think, Specs, I think, could be pretty heater. It'd run timid because, being outsped kind of sucks at the cost of some power. But with Earth Power, Focus Blast, Hydro Pump, and Ice Beam, that hits I can't even think of something that switches in all four of those moves. Because, Earth Power obviously hits Croak, hits, bulky steals, hits Lantern, which is big. I hate Lantern, so I always look for things to try and beat it. I also think that while offensive sets could be pretty cool, I could also see something like a defensive set with, Whirlpool, Parashong, both of which it does get, and then, it gets Toxic. And that's pretty much it. Polytoad, Goated Mon, also S rank. I would even say, hot take here, S plus rank. This thing is a godsend.
Wow.
Yep, hot takes. That's what we do out here.
JW, do you agree, disagree?
I don't really think it's S rank. I think it's way too slow for that. But I mean, it's definitely going to be a nice mon. But
everything is S rank in my mind.
Every new drop is S rank. Okay, Luxray is S rank. Okay, let's see.
Okay, I didn't say Luxray was S rank. I said Buffalon and
Lurantis is S rank.
not to split hairs here, but I only said two of the drops for S rank.
Focus, guys. Focus.
I mean, I mean, it has like maybe like a niche or two over Basculin with Earth Power, being able to hit those bulky like steel types in Lantern. At the same time, the fact that it doesn't have an option to just switch out if the opponent has like maybe like something good to switch in with Flip Turn, as well as the fact that it's a little bit slower, so you're going to be like slower than Croak. It might be a little bit worse if you're running like a hard offense team and you're trying to outspeed and just knock out everything. And then you're finding yourself slower than almost everything that's in front of you. For example, like being slower than Specs Rotom, whereas if you're using Basculin, you can just O-code Specs Hydro Pump before they even get off a single attack, which I think is a pretty big comparison there. But I think it will be a decent mon overall, maybe close to high tier.
Wow, even that's a pretty bold statement, and I like it. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, it's you could run like if there's one thing that I kind of wish that this thing did get, and I think you can all agree with me on this, I really wish it got Flip Turn. It did not, and that would have just made it even better. Because along with Basculin, this thing can absorb water moves. This is easily a switch into Basculin because it can even eat up ice moves. You may even be tempted to run Scald on this thing just on the occasion that this thing gets frozen by Ice Beam. So, but yeah, Politoed will definitely fit in nicely here. I definitely agree. So yeah, that was all of the mods that we got from RU, so they were very generous in giving us those things. So a couple more things that we wanted to go over. Currently, the NU Open is still going. Let's see, Mari, number 1, are you in? And number 2, how are you doing?
I actually never joined NU Open, and I haven't really been keeping up with it. But if y'all are still in, I'm rooting for you.
So, Aawin, are you in? Aawin, are you in? And if so,
I'm in the same boat as Mari. I never signed up.
Really?
GW is bad, so I hope he loses. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He wins bad. He wins bad because he's not in the NU Open right now. So.
Oh, okay.
GW, I know you're in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it your matches I was watching today for the Open?
I still haven't played yet.
Okay.
Extension.
Oh, okay.
I play a bet house if I win this round.
Nice. And then the other NU tour going on right now, it's called the NU League. I call it the NU Seasonal. Either way, how you want to look at it, it's part of the NU circuit right now. So again, Mari, please tell me you signed up for this at the very least. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Aawin, did you?
I'm going to keep it real here, Chief. I'm bad at mons, so I don't sign up for tours.
Wow, okay.
If I was like in a 500 IQ intellect, you already know I'd be in the tour. I'd win the tour. But, undrafted NUPL resident Aawin here, so.
And then GW, are you in the NU leagues? Or at least for this cycle, anyway.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of like highlight matches early on. Personally, I think I had some pretty up there opponents that I had to play in round 1 and round 2, but I got through both of them, so I'm still gonna be in the winners bracket, which means I get a bye every other round. There's losers you have to play every single round, so it's definitely better to just keep on winning in these types of tournaments. Otherwise, you have to play double the games, and it's hard to keep your motivation up for sure.
Yeah. I lost. GW pretty much said it. There were a lot of good matchups in week 1. I unfortunately lost to, I'd rather lose to someone as good as I did. Renchon, I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's a tour player, and he just made me look like silly bad. I put up a fight, but the matchups were just way too good for me to even, keep going. So it's like, yeah, I didn't even win a game. He completely embarrassed me in both games. But however, he may have sent me to the losers bracket, but I did win earlier today. I won in 3 games against Skip Can. He's more of a PU main, but I mean I still know him to be really good. And in the end, yep, I won games 2 and 3. So I get to keep going, play every week and all that. And yeah, those were tough games, I will say. So, last bit of business. Was there any thing that we may have missed? Any miscellaneous, information that we didn't cover that we should cover now?
I think it'll be interesting to talk about some the highlight matchups for NU Open and not just who we're playing or foreign or not. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, we could do that. Hang on, let me pull up the matchups. Oh wait, it's Grand Slam, not Circuit. I knew that.
Yeah, don't worry. I make the mistake all the time. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, because it's I know it to be a tour and all that, but it's oh yeah, it's part of the Grand Slam. All right. Oh, so we're currently in round 6. Is round 6 as in it's ending today or something like that? I don't know.
It just started.
August 9th, so a week from today, excuse me. Okay, so yeah, we're down to, it looks like in total about 10 matchups, give or take. So let's see. Oh man.
Top 16.
Yeah, so GW, you yourself could end up facing NU Mod Abejas. And
bottom one.
Let's see, who else do we have? Davin and Confide. I think that'll be a good one. None other. Well, excuse me. Pink Dragon Tamer and Nat. That might be a good one, assuming Nat wins. Other than that, what do you, GW? What are your,
I mean, Malekith also beats Snyder, so I think if he wins, that could be interesting as well.
Yeah, for sure. And
Zugu, who won the ladder tour versus Zoro Dark. I think Zoro Dark has beaten some pretty good players, and he's also very good himself. He's played SPL before, so he definitely knows what he's doing. And then we got some other interesting matchups. We got Enzo Gorlami, who I believe went positive in Sword Shield NU and UPL, versus Nuclear, who is basically a lower tiers main resident. He also uploads a lot. He's known for uploading a lot of his wins on YouTube and making nice thumbnails and stuff like that. Gary Oak, obviously one of the best NU players over the years, definitely against Ultra Balls.
Yeah, and yeah, I think none of the other matchups. I mean, I may know the names, but as far as their opponents, yeah, not so much. But yeah, this is, I mean, NU's looking, decent. I guess that would be, the proper word, I would say. Yeah, NU's looking pretty decent right now, and hopefully it stays that way. But other than that, yeah, thanks guys for, all being here. This was a good one. I mean, hopefully Spatial and Zero can, watch this eventually. But yeah, thank you guys for, sticking around this long if you did. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.